What the are dreams?
Does your brain ever, in your dreams, make up people? Or is it always people that have been a part of your life?
I haven't thought about this person. I haven't seen this person. I have no reference to this person. And all of a sudden, this person is in my dreams at night.
I would say at least once a week, I die.
I kind of like this one. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
In the morning, I'll have to check myself, and I'm like, okay, you didn't come. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure that means anything.
Welcome back to the Alpha Hour podcast, where a couple of betas try to pretend like we're alpha.
So yeah, I was driving here this morning and I was thinking about, I was just thinking, I didn't have anything on, and it just hit me like, what the are dreams? What are they? It's one of those things where it's like no one really has a clear answer. There's like hypotheses and this and that, but
I kind of like this one. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
But dreams, you can...
No, like I had a weird dream last night and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this? Where is this from? Why is it occurring? We all have them. Dogs have them.
Yeah. No, I wondered that because when we were just kind of BSing the other day about what was it was something like there was like a Biden meme or something, and then I literally had a dream, like it was a vivid dream about like I was either watching the news or whatever, the circumstance of like what if it was media related or I was somehow with Joe Biden in real life, but I had could see him. He was down on the side, like in the fetal position, like coughing and like trying to get air. And then everyone just kind of let him go. And then it was like they're already starting to plan like who was going to take the role of the next president and whatnot. And I was like, how the hell does that happen? So I know like he gets forced into like our conversations a lot. He's the president of the United States. But at the same time, remember on Friday we mentioned we went out to dinner and Ken's family friend like had like some sort of like heat like issue. He couldn't breathe. It was like asthma. He started to faint. So I think it was like a combination. Like our brains are weird. Like that was real recent in my head where I was watching somebody like gasp for air and struggle to breathe. And then something probably happened with, I saw a Joe Biden meme of some sort. Maybe somebody was making fun of him. And then those two, my brain somehow forced it.
They connected.
Yeah. But I don't know. But that was like one circumstance of recent dream that I was like, holy shit. How would my brain come up with that in my deep sleep?
Well, they say that if you want to remember something, then learn about it, read about it, watch something about it before you go to bed. Because it's almost like your brain is downloading some sort of information that you consumed, whether it was that day, that week. But then on the other hand, it's also random stuff. Like the one time I had a dream about our buddy Dan. And
which Dan? Massey?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll completely forgot his name, but... And it was just so random because he had a top hat and there was money being dispensed from his top hat. And this is a time when we didn't really talk to Dan. It was that, point in time. So it was just the most random thing. And he was just dispensing cash out of his top hat. And I'm just pulling it out. And it was the most random thing. So awesome. You also get those random dreams to where, okay, I never experienced this in my life, but somehow your brain is making multiple connections.
Yeah.
And weird connections too. Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco-Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.
And that's the thing. It's like, and we think it's got to be from a mammalian brain because we do know like dogs dream, right?
How do we know?
Well, we assume they dream. We see them, barking.
Oh,
and,
yeah, that's true.
and
like they're almost
stuff.
running too.
Yeah, like they're like, the
run.
same thing that you would do as a human, but we can't tell exactly what's going on. But then the point is like, all right, so this thing has been there, this process, this biological process has been there for a while. We've not evolved out of it, so there is some utility to it. And then it's like, okay, well, what is it? And I think that like modern science has no idea. Most of the stuff with the brain, they don't. And you'll look it up and there'll be like hypotheses about what it is. It's the limbic system getting stimulated during rapid eye movement or what have you, but it doesn't make any real sense. And so it's like so you get out of the science of it and you get into more of like just what is it? And my only thought is like you have your conscious mind, which is your mind when you're awake and you're thinking and you're actively doing something, and then you have your subconscious mind, which is sleeping, meditating. I think that you get into that when you're doing something that requires all of your attention. You can get into that subconscious, and it has to be what it is. But then, yeah, like, so you can have the activities that happen during the day that cause you to then think about that at night. But the ones that always confuse me are the ones that'll be like of someone you haven't seen in 20 years.
Yeah.
And you have a dream about them, and you're like, why on earth is this person? I haven't thought about this person. I haven't seen this person. I have no reference to this person. And all of a sudden, this person is in my dreams at night, or an activity, something I did so long ago is in my dreams at night. It's like, is it just something my subconscious is telling me that I need to like address? It is very weird. I've never quite comprehended that.
Does your brain ever in your dreams make up people, or is it always people that have been a part of your life that you've seen?
No, I think you have those NPCs, the non-playable character, kind of, you know. But I think that's like it's just. I think it's just filling in. It's just your brain filling in.
I'm trying to think, like, do I, or is it always people that I know?
I think there's other people in the periphery of your dream, but there's never that person. Like, the person I'm dealing with is always usually a person I know. But
I've had it where there's people that I don't know.
Really?
For sure, yeah. Like faces I've never seen before. Like there's this one time where it was...
Or maybe you saw them and your subconscious knew them, but you don't in your conscience.
Yep, I guess, yeah,
Your
possibly.
conscious mind.
That's, and what's funny about dreams, too, is they're fleeting. You can completely forget about them. Even the most outrageous ones. The only reason that I remember the Dan one, and this one was from 10 or 15 years ago, a long time ago, is I wrote it down. Like, I wrote down that dream. And I was like, I want to remember this. But then I stopped writing down my dreams.
Yeah.
But that is one way to try to remember what happened in those dreams and how outrageous they are.
Yeah. Well, and you'll get into those ones, like you'll read about, there's certain themes that I think a lot of people have. So like I've had the dream where I can like jump really high and like fly. I've had that dream. Like a lot of people have had like the unprepared dreams where it's like, you know, you're naked somewhere, or you're really nervous about something that's going to go wrong somewhere, and that has to be like a preparation thing. Like but it is so wild. And you'll read like, you know, these dream people that'll actually give you like the kind of the definition of your dream. You can go online and you can see like, okay, when you fly, you're having, you know, feelings of euphoria or what have you. And I'm always like, okay. I mean, if somebody's trying to explain it, but it's like, it's so wild. It's just this crazy thing that you're like, we have no idea what it is. Everyone experiences it. I think every night. I think if you're in REM sleep, you're gonna have X amount of dreams. I just don't think you remember.
Yeah, you don't remember. Do you guys have a very impactful dream that you've had in the past that still sticks with you now, that you think about or that you can remember clearly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you care to share? Or
No.
Okay, that's fine. Do you?
Like impactful, like actually like changing the way I view something, or like, I don't know, getting me over a hurdle of some sort in life. No. Well, you mentioned the flying ones are my favorite ones. Because I actually feel like I'm flying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that heart where whatever you have had in your life, like that gives you that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like if you're jumping on a trampoline real high or you're going down a roller coaster, that's like, I've never like jumped out of an airplane or anything, but where your heart's racing and all of a sudden you're in the air, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. And then like I can like kind of swim my way through the air. Like those are my favorite. And like I'll be up there and I'm like, I don't want to let this go, because if I go back down to the land, I might not be able to fly again. And then whenever I finally do, I'll wake up and it's like, God damn,
I wasn't flying. I thought I was flying.
I've never had flying ones, but there are ones where you're just getting to the end of where you like the final boss or the goal, and you just wake up.
Yeah.
And you try to bring yourself back to that, but you can never.
No.
It's one of those things you just cannot get it back.
No.
As much as you
that
try.
is wild too. Yeah, like last night I had a dream and I'm sitting there and I like woke up for whatever reason, but you know, you're in that still like kind of starry state. You're not really awake. But then like I kept being like, I want to go back to that dream.
But you can't.
You can't do it.
Was it sexual?
No.
Like, damn, I was about to pop.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, sex dreams are weird too.
They are, because they feel very real.
Yeah.
And in the morning, I'll have to check myself, and I'm like, okay, you didn't come. You know what I mean? Because in the dream, it feels like you're actually having
like
sex.
You're like about to be there. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
It is so bizarre. Like it's not like when you're in it, it doesn't feel like it's not real. It feels like you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's so bizarre about a dream is that you're able to, if you just pulled apart like this reality right now where we're sitting doing this, and I was able to like segregate my dream and compare these two, if I could experience the dream in the moment, I don't perceive it differently. I feel like I'm there. It's not like I'm aware of it. I don't feel like I'm ever aware of the fact that I'm dreaming unless I wake up.
Yeah, I've never had that experience. There are some people who do that. What's it called? The type of dreaming where they intentionally do it. I can't remember the name of it, but they intentionally make themselves dream about certain things and make themselves realize, almost like Inception, that they're actually in this dream and they're controlling the dream. I forget the name of it.
That's right.
But
Inception is the entire basis of that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've had dreams that impact me. Like there's one that I can clearly remember, and the reason I can remember is because it was so visual that I drew a picture on my whiteboard. I have a picture of it somewhere. I took a snapshot of the picture that I drew on this whiteboard, but I will never forget this. And it was a life lesson of basically there's a lot of things in the world that you're scared of and you don't want to confront or face, and because you think they're going to harm you in some way, but in reality, they're not going to. So this dream was essentially, think of like a neighborhood, and you're walking down the street in this neighborhood. There's houses on the left and right-hand side, and around these houses are big lions and tigers. And I remember standing right in the outskirts of the neighborhood looking, and I was so scared to go. But then I don't know, somebody came in the dream and we started walking down there, and I was walking so scared because these lions and tigers were on each side of the street, and we just kept walking and I was perfectly fine. But I physically felt that fear of, oh my God, I can't walk down this street because these things are going to get me. But as you walked down the street, they wouldn't do anything. They would just sit there and look very aggressive and scary, but they didn't do anything. So it reminded me in life, a lot of things scare you and they make you feel uncomfortable, but it's not like they're going to kill you,
right.
But we do have that fear inside of us that, oh my God, I could die from this. Exactly. I'm not going to do this, even though I know I'm not going to die.
Yeah,
I'm not
your
jumping.
Heart rate and whatnot, because I've had those where, it makes sense. It's your entire nervous system. It's things that you've experienced before. Like, I'll feel them. But what I hate in certain dreams is when that scenario plays out or whatever. It's like, I need to get away. And you, can't. Like, all of a sudden, you lose the ability to, run or something. And it's like you're crawling. And you're like, why can't I move? And like,
nothing
I'm in
works.
quicksand. And it's like, what the freak is going on? And those are the ones where I'm like, all right, let's just wake up because I can't handle this right now. Like, I'll wake up and my heart's beating. It's like, Jesus criminy, what the hell was that about? But it makes you want to study dreams. Like, what does that mean? I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe it means nothing.
Yeah.
But it's gotta mean something. It's almost like your brain is, like I said, downloading some sort of information, because the brain is so complex to where we have memories that we could remember, we just can't access them, right? It's like we know where it's at, but we just don't have the path or the trail to get to that memory to pull it out.
Right.
And there's even times where someone might bring something up, and then you make that connection of a memory that you had. So maybe it's just memories that we've suppressed, and it's almost like we're trying to access those memories through this trail, but we don't know how to get there, so we start to veer off of the trail to go to one side to another memory, and then we start to veer off to go to another memory, and then we've got, all of a sudden we have 3, 4, 5 memories that are combining together, and they become so weird and awkward that
is true.
That could be a dream.
A lot of times they do combine ideas and thoughts.
Yeah, like the one with Dan, top hat. Okay, well, I'm sure I have a memory of a top hat. Dan, he's our friend. We know him. That's a memory I have of him. Money. Okay, I have a memory of that of some point in my life. Money being dispensed from something. Yes. Combine all those together. Massey, top hat, money being dispensed from the top hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure that means anything. You know what I mean?
It doesn't. But
right.
It's just.
I think he's gonna hit the lottery here at some point in his life, and he's just gonna be making it rain for all of us.
I would love that.
Yeah, I hope that is actually what happens. But yeah, it's so bizarre, and it's like, my thing is always like that subconscious brain. Like, those thoughts and those ideas and that it's all in your brain, but I do think it's hard to access sometimes, particularly like in society today, because there's no silence, there's no quiet. Like sometimes when I'm meditating, I'll get that where I'll actually like have an idea come up that it was in there that it's not like I'm thinking about it. I just don't think that anyone understands the brain well enough to understand like all these layers of it. And I think that dreams are your subconscious, and it's all that stuff that's in there that, yeah, you're not actively thinking about, you're not actively addressing or pulling out or accessing, but it's there. You know, it all those thoughts, everything you've done is somewhere in there. I always wonder that, like, okay, I remembered something when I was 10, but I can't remember it now. Like, what happened to it?
It's physically there, but you don't have that path. Like I said, that trail to get to that memory.
Yeah, when I was 10, I remembered probably everything that happened when I was 8, or at least a significant amount of it.
You think?
I remembered a lot of it when I was 10. I'm saying going from 10 to 8. I remembered a lot of stuff.
Oh, I see. But the further you get away from it,
it's gone.
Yeah, the more you
It's
forget.
not like I remember anything when I was 8. When we were in high school, when I was 18, I can remember almost everything that happened when we were 17. Now I think about it and I'm like, man, I don't remember any of it. It's there somewhere. It's in my head. I mean, or it was at some point. What happened? It's not like a hard drive where I delete it. So it's in there. I could probably access it. And you'll have those experiences where someone will talk to you. They'll be like, hey, you remember that time that we went out and we did this and this? And you're like, oh, yeah. But on my own, I would have never thought about that. But once somebody connected that dot, then I was able to access that memory. But if you said, hey, tell me about something that happened when you were 16, I would have a very hard time doing it.
That's true. I think it is like a filing cabinet. And if like somebody actually takes out that document, remember this memory? You can. It's happened to me before. I can't think of any vivid memories like you've somewhat indicated there. But yeah, I think it's potential that we have it all stored away. And if somebody kind of brings it out and retrieves that information, you can connect the dots. My family has done it, like certain vacations and whatnot. As you compile more and more years and more information, I think it just gets shoved into the back. It's just noise. But if somebody retrieves it, boom, there.
But then the other thing is so crazy is how inaccurate memories are.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like you have these things.
How you perceive something and how somebody else perceived it?
Yeah. Well, and it's just been like eyewitness
testimony. It's like a game of telephone, right? It's eventually...
It's like your brain will fill in those gaps. Like, you could be super suggestive. So I could tell you, like, all right, hey, no, you're wrong. It wasn't the three of us there. It was two of us and then our other friend. And like, in your brain, it'll, like, make that memory. Like, you could change that memory, and you could not convince yourself otherwise. And that's eyewitness testimony. That's why it's so unreliable.
Yeah, and because there are a lot of things in our life that we take for granted and we don't really pay attention to. Like today, this morning I was at the park with my dog, and there was this white car that was parked in the parking lot. Kind of sketched me out. I was like, maybe they're gonna break into my car while I'm out in the woods, and they weren't. But I intentionally turned around and looked at the car to kind of see what it was, the type of car it was, and I said, okay, I'm gonna remember that. But I don't have all the real details. I kind of see the shape of it, right? But if I wasn't intentionally looking at that, I wouldn't have noticed that, right? So say I went to the park another day and there was a brown van that I just didn't pay attention to. I saw it, but I couldn't remember, and my car got broken into, and I didn't remember, okay, it was a brown van, but I don't know what kind of make and model. So there's so many things that we just don't pay attention to because we have so many inputs coming into our lives. It goes back to the thing you said about silence. You know, you remember more and start thinking about more random things in silence, especially during meditation. When you're intentionally sitting there and trying to clear your brain, you get these random thoughts that creep in. And meditation teaches you to stop that, like push that thing away for a little bit, some types of meditation. But I think silence is a really good thing for a lot of people. We not many people get it very often in their life.
Not in today's society.
But I think it would be super beneficial for not only people to remember memories, if you will, or be able to access memories, but I think it's good in general to kind of clear your brain of all the BS that's constantly coming in, the inputs. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you dream more when, I don't know, you had a really relaxed day and are feeling good, or like the opposite? Like, I don't know, you're stressed and freaked out and about whatever, and your brain will create stuff.
I think if I had to pick, I'd say more of the relaxed days.
I would think so.
Mine are so random. I don't know.
It is pretty random. I don't know if I could necessarily pick one, but
That's
that's the
try
thing.
to remember the next dream I have.
Well,
Not
you
that
should
it's gonna add.
you should
anything
try to write them down because it's a fun thing to do. There's a book called, I think it's called Story Worthy, and what this guy basically teaches you to do is every day you write something that happened that's story worthy during that day. So it can be something super small, like I went and got a really good cup of coffee, or I went and did this with my family and it was so much fun. And you just write a couple sentences about it, and slowly you start to accumulate these memories that you had. So in 5, 10, 15 years, you can go back and look at memories that you would have normally forgot, but in the moment are very impactful for you. Like okay, I took Lucy to Disney World and she did this and it was so awesome. Okay, you remember that now. But in 10 or 15 years, you're going to completely forget about it.
Yeah.
But it gives you the opportunity to go back and read about that memory, and it immediately takes you back into that feeling that you had in that thought.
And that's pictures, right? That's what pictures are.
Yeah, you could do that with pictures.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We have so many pictures, and that's why he says only write 1 or 2 sentences, because you can have too much. If you go to Disney World with your family, you're going to have hundreds of pictures that are you really going to filter through all of them? No, you're going to pick out 1 or 2, but are you really going to go back? I think the written word is it's different from photos too.
Especially if it's your words.
Your written word, right. And even if it's just a couple sentences, you know how you were thinking, and you're going to write it in that way to really trigger the picture and the feeling that you had at that point in time. So Story Worthy is a great book. It's one thing. I did it for a year, so I can actually go back and look at what happened in my life for this full year that I did it. And it was pretty
diary.
cool.
Yeah, it's a journal.
Yeah, kind of like a diary.
It's a really short
A diary is so
Call it a journal.
Yeah,
It sounds way more masculine.
super masculine.
If you call it a diary, it sounds a little.
Well, like journals, like too alpha. Like
It's not. Yeah, like what guys are wearing purses nowadays. It's not a purse. It's a man bag or something. It's like, bro, it's a satchel. No, it's a purse. Let's quit playing around. I see dudes walking around with these purses around their chest, and I think to myself, bro, that's a purse.
Probably utilitarian as hell.
But what are in those things? What are really in those things?
Yeah, I don't carry enough to have the need for that.
Me neither. It's okay, but
that's a different topic. But I get it. How many times do you have like shit in your pockets and you're like, God, this is so annoying. You can't wait to get my wallet, my phone, and my keys, like whatever you got. I get the whole fanny pack thing sometimes.
I mean, I guess I get it, but you just gotta be practical about it. Like now, I don't even carry a wallet. I take my ID and a credit card, and that's it. I take it out of my wallet, put it in my pocket. That's it. So you can pare it down. I don't know what dudes have in those things nowadays. But anyways, okay, back to But dreams. So have you guys ever had dreams about dying?
Yes.
Okay, I have those all the time. But I think it's because I have sleep apnea. So I'm essentially suffocating myself in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But I have dying dreams, and I'll wake up feeling like I'm like you almost just died.
Well, you kind of did.
I guess
I mean, you probably had your oxygen level, your blood oxygen was probably at 85. And you get that sleep apnea and bad enough, it is significant. And that is what's weird about a dream, is that you're in this subconscious state, but you can have your conscious mind leak into it. So you can have a sound, the TV could have been left on or something, and you could have a sound from that leak into your dream. Or, like your dog is making noise and you could hear that in your dream. So I guess it's the same thing as with your conscious and subconscious mind. When you're awake, your subconscious can kind of leak in, and that's probably like the meditation and that kind of stuff. So like, that's the thing. There's like a Venn diagram of conscious and subconscious, and there's this overlapping middle where you could have things that leak in. So your blood oxygen levels 85, and you're like, oh shit, I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm dying. It legit feels like it, and I wake up thinking I wake up thinking like, Jarrad, are you doing enough in your life? Because I legit felt like death. Felt like I was dying. I would say at least once a week I die. So I can say that I have.
Are there dreams attached to it? Like
yes. Okay. So and it was a running joke when my sisters lived with me, because it would usually. I don't know. It would have to do with choking on stuff. Like one time I choked on a bowling ball. like a bowling ball in my dream. Actually, a couple times I've choked on a bowling ball. I've
That
choked
is
on
bizarre.
all kinds of like golf balls, baseballs, all kinds of things.
You
Well,
just,
that's
like, balls
just
in your
that's
mouth.
you're having.
I love balls.
You're
Man.
low,
It's
you're low
telling
on
me.
it. Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, so that's what it revolves around. And
Wait, how did you say it makes sense? Why would a bunch
Because
of
he's-
sports balls?
Well, that part doesn't.
that's
The
probably my-
suffocating thing is
Alright.
it does connect.
it's my brain trying to make the connection. Is I don't know.
Like, hey,
and
bro,
I like balls in my
wake
mouth.
up because you're freaking suffocating.
And you like balls in your mouth.
Yeah.
So that's
God,
how
here,
you're.
shove this in your mouth.
That's how you're gonna die. So that freaks me
You'd
out.
go out a happy man.
But I've essentially died, and it does make me rethink my reality. You know, when I'm conscious and awake of, bro, you just died last night. You know, like you better get going. Appreciate your friends. Appreciate the things you're doing in your life, because it's
I need to have more dying
it's
dreams.
a blessing, but a curse.
Yeah,
as
right.
well. Plus, it messes up my sleep too, which
Yeah,
isn't a
you
good
sleep-
thing.
yeah,
you
you
know,
sleep terribly when you have sleep
horribly.
apnea.
Like I have to sleep with these nasal strips now just to bring my nose up a little bit, just so I can
Yeah.
breathe clearly. And if I don't, the next morning I feel a little wonky.
Yeah.
I like how you jump to the meaning of the dream. I'm so like intrigued by a bowling ball. Like, okay, look, what was the circumstance of like how did you get this bowling ball in
That's
your
the thing. I
mouth?
can't remember the circumstance right now that you're bringing it up and asking me to remember it, but I just remember the bowling ball and swallowing.
You'd have
it.
to really get that mouth open to.
Yeah, but in the dream, anything's possible, right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's as big, or it wouldn't be able to fit
No, I mean-
in my mouth,
You can handle whatever you put your mind to, you know?
or whatever you can put in your mouth.
It's really just a matter of how hard you want to try and how bad you want it.
Quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Fully Loaded Tobacco-Free Chew. Check out the description of this video or the show notes to get 20% off your next order.